This is what it looks like when a car dealership in Eugene, Oregon refuses to step in and defend its employee who is being jumped by customers. And then they reprimand and fire him for it for no fucking reason, by the way. I just got fired from a job that I've had for about 4 years. It's paid most of my bills. I had a buddy in high school whose mom runs a local dealership here in Eugene, Oregon, and between stand-up tours, I would be like, hey, I got some time off, can I come sell some cars? And she'd be like, yeah, sure, why not? And it gives me a chance to use my psych degree from college, or I guess I minored in psychology, so it's not a degree, but it gives me a leg up in business negotiations. And I like to use it to my advantage in the car salesman industry. And a lot of very dumb people come in to buy cars. If you've ever worked a normal job, like at a grocery store or something like that, you know the average person is a very dumb guy. And you have an evolutionary responsibility to take advantage of those people. And it's what pushes the human race forward. And I know, yeah, it's not PC. Oh, yeah, go ahead and cancel me. Newsflash, can't cancel someone who doesn't care. Anyways, there was an incident a few months ago where, this was not what I got fired for. This was a different one. A few months ago where I kept messing with this guy who wanted to buy a 2016 Toyota minivan. He calls me, he's in Salem, which is an hour away. He's like, hey man, I really want to buy this car. Just a heads up though, I don't have a driver's license, but I'm going to buy this car and my wife's going to drive it around and I have really good credit. Is that a thing you guys are capable of doing? I was like, yeah, I'm sure we can handle it. No, we don't do that. So he takes an Uber down from Salem and he sits down with me and we get all the paperwork done. It's about 2 p.m. by the way, by the time he gets here. We are on the phone with banks all day trying to figure this out. He's like, oh, is there any issues? And we're like, no, we're good. We're just trying to get you the best interest rate possible. Gets to be about 8:30. No bank has taken up this loan offer. And we're like, hey, the banks aren't responding at this point. The banks are closed. You probably got to go home and come back tomorrow. And he goes, dude, I just paid for a 1 hour long Uber. Now you're telling me I got to pay for another hour-long Uber back? We're like, yeah, sorry, it's real unfortunate. We'll call you tomorrow when we have more details. So he takes an Uber an hour all the way back to Salem. Okay, next day rolls around, I call him and I say, hey man, great news, a bank has agreed to the loan. All you got to do is come down and sign for it. He says, are you sure? Because yesterday you said this and I took an hour-long Uber down and my day got ruined. I was like, no dude, you got this, just come on down. I didn't check shit. He comes down and we sit down and the bank did actually reply. So I was very fortunate and it made me look very good because I don't know what I would have done. So we call the bank and they're like, yeah, we could totally take this loan. Then they ask for his ID, okay, his state ID. So I give them his state ID, which is awesome. And they're like, hey, seems to be an issue with the ID. Can you check the numbers again? And so we give them the numbers and like, wait a minute, is this a driver's license? And we're like, no, it's not a driver's license. They say, okay, well, we can't sell a car to someone who doesn't have a driver's license. So we tell him this. He is really mad at this point. Gets an Uber all the way back to Salem, okay? So, probably shouldn't have done this. I call him back the next day, and I'm like, hey man, we figured it out. I figured out how you can get the car. And he goes, really? Because I'm not driving all the way down. This is so dumb. I say, I noticed on your credit report you have a $30,000 credit limit. You should just buy the car with a credit card. And he hangs up, obviously, because it's a terrible idea. And then he got another Uber to come down and he punched me in the face. He just walked into the dealership and he punched me in the face. Luckily, there was another dealer that was able to pull him off of me. Thank God. I don't know what would have happened. And he gets banned from the dealership. But he ended up buying the car. I don't know how he ended up buying the car, but he ended up buying the car from a different salesman, and they delivered it to his house in Salem, and I didn't get the commission, which doesn't make any sense. I did all the work. I brought him down here 3 times, but I didn't get the commission. So after that happens, I talk to my boss, and I'm like, hey, you should check this out. And I pull up Kik, and I show her Jack Doherty, who's this guy who probably be a really good car salesman. He instigates people, and then he has a bodyguard step in and physically defend him. And I'm like, we should hire a guy like that to defend us from when these people come in. And she's like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. I mean, I feel like this is a smart move because then we can get more aggressive with our negotiation tactics. We can use the big dick method, which I'll get to in a little bit. And she goes, that's not a real thing. I didn't hear that. If you speak about this again, I will tell HR to never let you in the building. And I was like, all right, whatever. She got all triggered. And so what did I do next? Okay, so a few months later, you know, I'm selling cars on and off until a few days ago, which is when I would sell my last car and I wouldn't even know. A guy walks in, and big burly guy, okay? He walks in with his wife and his mother-in-law. He sits me down, he says, listen, man, I'm not trying to be a burden. My car broke yesterday. It's too expensive to repair. I need a new car today. I need it for work. I was like, all right, I can do that for you. Never, ever tell a car salesman that you need a car, okay? We call those guys ice cream cones because they're an easy lick. I called them ice cream cones. I called past tense. It was a thing I was trying to start. It was like slang. I want to start car dealership slang. So if you are a car salesman, you can use the term ice cream cone if you want. I'm not gonna sue you or anything. But so he sits down with his wife and his mother-in-law, and the big dick method works in two ways. It can be physical or it can be mental. And this guy was a lot larger than me, and my penis functions very well, but it's aristocratic, if you know what I mean. I have the penis of an aristocrat, which is a treasure of an older era. You know, a lot of women would think that's really impressive, and just not today. So I have to use my intellect to win mates over. Not that I'm trying to mate with his mother-in-law or his wife. Not that I turned it down. But so he sits down and we agree on a rate. We're like, all right, I can sell this. I can get you out the door with this car, $300 a month. And he goes, oh, that's perfect. That's everything I need. This was like after like 2 hours of negotiation. I let him whittle me down for $450. So I say, if you shake my hand right now, I will be able to go get the contract, we'll walk out $300 a month. He says, deal. He shakes my hand. I go to the back. And this is where the big dick method starts. I tell the writer of the deal, I say, yeah, the guy agreed to $600 a month. I don't even know what they added. They're like, oh, okay. I come back out with a contract for $600 a month, okay? So I set it down in front of him and his wife and his mother-in-law. I make sure the women see it first, okay? You gotta make sure the wife and the mother-in-law see it first. And he sees it last. He's like, whoa, what is this? This isn't my contract. I think you brought me the wrong guy's stuff. I was like, no, this is yours. This is for the I think it was a 2015 Chevy. And he was like, no, this is not what you agreed upon. I agreed on $300. I'm like, yeah, so things, and I actually said this to him, by the way, I'm not kidding. I go, yeah, so things tend to get a little bit more expensive, but I understand a lot of guys like you and even me, we can't even afford to go to McDonald's sometimes. And that's, you're offsetting not all the blame onto him, you're putting it on yourself too, so that way you look like you're throwing him a bone. It was funny for a minute, and then he grabbed my wrist and dangled me in the air. I don't think I've ever been more humiliated in front of my peers. I'm like, I finally fight the guy off, okay? I start hitting him. I fight the guy off and he drops me because everyone's yelling at him to stop it. And I ended up spraining my wrist and he ends up buying the car, but it was from a different salesman. So I didn't even get the commission. So honestly, I'm more of the victim here. But I have a sprained wrist. I didn't get my fucking commission. And the manager comes over and says, let's go. They escort me out of the building. They take my locker shit. They put it in a little fucking, you know those post office, those little plastic bins, they put it in a post office bin and they give it to me. And this is, I can't help but feel like this isn't my fault. If the GM had simply listened to me and hired a, not to racially generalize, a giant burly Asian guy, thought I was going to say something different, didn't you? Never judge a book by its cover. A giant burly Asian guy to man the door and sort of stop these things from happening, I wouldn't be in this predicament. So yeah, I'm looking for a personal injury attorney and any car dealerships that are looking to actually make some serious money. Let me know. I'd love to get back in the game.